Hey,
We're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome, you guys, to At the Creative Table. It's a space where we invite you to pull up a chair because we've set our cameras down and we're talking honestly about creativity, calling, and the process behind the lens. So you are at the table today with Ruby,
Ivy,
and
Chris.
And we are talking today about starting before you're ready, digging a little bit more into like the fear. And we really are hoping after you hear this episode that you have tools to move forward despite the fear, just learning some lessons from our journey so far. We're here again at Horror Lodge Studios in Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. And Chris, do you want us or someone else to share a little bit about the space?
we're at Horror Lodge.
Horror Lodge Studios in
Yes.
Fuquay. This is a space where we partner with, we create content. I say that again. Content. We create,
Content,
yes, content. It's a space where we can you shoot. It's a beautiful studio. Like, oh my God, it's so nice and comfy, and it's just great. It's great. We outside, y'all.
We outside.
Outside. But we're inside. But we
Yeah.
outside.
We still cold though.
Yeah. It's cold out.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So on the table today, our topic is starting before you're ready. It includes so many different things that, especially stuff that stops us, like imposter syndrome, fear, comparison. Let's dig a little bit into fear because I feel like last episode we talked a bit about, and Ivy, you made some good points of like when we were talking about validation last episode and just hoarding content and not sharing your content, realizing that like it's probably fear that was holding you back. So is fear factual? Is it real?
I mean, it's real,
Right.
but it's
It's really real.
fear is real, but it's not factual, so it's not reality. But it is something that has power if you feed it and if you give it power. And I think I am just focusing on taking away the power of the fear that keeps me stagnant.
Excellent. And like, how do you like think about that? How do you take away that power of the fear keeping you stagnant?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it goes into fact of me just stepping out on faith and trusting God. That's a huge part of it. I mean, I probably couldn't do anything without, stepping out on faith and trusting God. So I think that's the main fact. And then just knowing that whatever vision I have for myself, that God has a bigger one. And all my plans, all the stuff that I want, God wants even more for me, and I can't even fathom what He has planned for me. So just knowing that if I'm obedient and if I walk and step out in faith, that I'll get to see what's in store.
Yeah. Y'all are always dropping nuggets. Like, I had to stop and like type that in so I don't forget. Like, God has a bigger vision than I do.
He does.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, you said fear is real, but is it factual as well?
I want to say it is factual though, because it's something you do feel, and it's your reality. It becomes reality.
Right.
Now, is it factual that it will always be there? Nah. Nah, you can't stay here. It comes. We're
Right.
human. It does come. I don't know anybody that I've never met that said anything they did, maybe a little bit of like nervousness. It's still fear, right? It's still fear. So I feel like, yes, it's real, and yes, it's factual, but no, it's not. It doesn't have to be our reality. I feel
Right.
like faith over fear with everything. So it's gonna come, the anxiety, the nervous. Oh my God, people don't realize like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. That's still anxiety. That's still nervousness, and it's
Yes.
still fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know you had asked her like to tap out of it. You got to just tell yourself, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can and I will.
Yeah.
I'm unstoppable. I am that girl. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like,
I love it. I love the language you're giving.
yeah, affirmations. Like I say, sometimes you just can look in the mirror and you got to remind ourselves like we can do this. Like
I've been doing this.
I've been
too,
doing this,
right?
because I'd say this all the time when we step out of our house, or I'm using the house as a comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Our home should be peace, right? So when you step out of peace, it becomes the world, and the world will give you fear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's real.
Yes. And you know what? Like, for me, is it real? Do you hear the acronym, right? False evidence appearing real. But I
Faith.
can see where you say, Chris, that like people almost like, and people being me,
We the people.
yes, almost like catastrophize it because we're playing this thought constantly in our minds, and then that does start to shape our reality because we've allowed ourselves to succumb to the fear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm probably between the two, but I could see like where fear becomes real. And for me, what I've done in the past is like I've done just that, like catastrophized, and like what will happen for me is like I have a fear and I don't verbalize it, but I keep playing the ideal in my mind, all the things that can go wrong, that may go wrong, when nothing has even happened. Like
Right.
fear just seems like it's an expectation, but like in the negative direction, whereas like hope and faith is like an expectation in the positive direction.
Yeah.
And what's helped me with like moving away from it and stopping is like catching myself and realizing I've allowed myself to start just catastrophizing, and just stop those thoughts,
Yeah.
or write them out and write out, like go down this whole list of like, what are you afraid of? The same way that people kind of say like, well, you have to get to your why, and the why has to be like 5 levels deep. Like I will sit and say, okay, like what is this true fear here, and you know, just work through it, and allow God to help me work through it. So question for you ladies, after several years in business, what are there any fears that you have now, and what's the next step you'll take to get through them?
I think for me, and it'll probably be an ongoing thing until it's not, I'm always afraid of messing up or
Yeah.
getting it wrong.
Same. Yeah.
I feel like I always I always am. Even if there is no proof to that, I still feel like I'm afraid of messing up
Like
at times.
messing up what though? Like in your business?
Like messing up shots.
Okay.
Not getting the ones that I want to get, even though normally I do.
Right.
Not meeting expectations,
Yeah. That's the
whether they're my own expectations or the client's expectations.
right.
There's always that fear for me, even though there isn't necessarily proof to submit that.
Right.
So, and I think that's where that fear, like you said, it is a part of reality, because like that fear is real for me. But the more I feed it, the more it grows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think just that. And then I feel like there was a second part to that question that I didn't answer.
Just like, what's the next step for you to get through it? Because like, I hear you saying that, but then you also on the flip side say like, well, this has never happened in terms of like not meeting the expectations of a client?
I feel like it hasn't.
Right.
I think I can pinpoint one place that it has, but out of all the shoots that I've done, is one place, and we still the client was still satisfied, but unfortunately we weren't able to get a certain shot, and that was just due to the location.
Right.
Not anything that I was necessarily in control over. I just think that continuously, and I think a lot of my answers are going to be this, continuously just stepping out and doing it, and stepping out on faith, just knowing like everything will end up working out.
Right.
Is just how I move forward.
And it has.
Ivy, thank you for sharing just, you know, some of the fears you still have after being in business for several years and just the steps you'll take. Chris, what about you after being in business for several years? Like, are there any fears that you have, and what are the steps you're taking to move beyond them?
One fear is, sounds so weird, but it's like with the gear, and it's because it's happened. Like the day before shoot, my strobe light, you know what I mean? It just failed. And
how'd you overcome that, though?
I called my sisters.
You called
My photography sisters. Like, hey, I need help. That's where the village comes in, you know?
Yeah.
So a fear of that happening again, of course, you know what I mean? And how I could have maybe possibly is maybe a couple more days before the shoot, like, you know what I mean? Got my stuff out. That could happen. And like with the gear, like my SD card, stuff that I see happen with other photographers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to shoot and you don't have no SD card, or you left a battery. You know what I mean? I've seen that stuff like that happen. But a fear overall is that can be, or maybe, it's just not executing the way I want to. You know what I mean? Like the fear of, like I said, I don't want to stop. And so to ever get to that point where this is too much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I say I had this strong fear, I think that would be where I would be. You know what I mean?
And like, if you're looking at like stuff being too much, like what steps can you take to like overcome that feeling of like, oh, this is just a little bit too much?
Pause.
You could pause, yeah.
Pause.
And I know, like, in the past, there's been times, like, even for you where, like, physically it was just too much because maybe you got sick and you called on one of us to, take a shoot for you. So, like,
I had COVID and I had a shoot and I was like, I just can't even lift my head up. And, again, to call on your village, you know what I mean? And gladly, you were like, okay, I'll do it. And I did the editing. So it was still my style, you know what I mean? But I could have stopped. I could have reached out to her and, you know what I mean? Which to me, I would have felt like I was failing the client, to be honest. It does happen though. Stuff like that does happen where you get sick or the weather, you know? So yeah.
So y'all, if you are listening and you are not a creative, just know that like creatives, like we care about what we're doing. We care about what we're doing for you.
Absolutely.
And that plays into our work. And we just want to put out the best products and make sure that you're happy and satisfied with the result. I would say for me, a fear that still shows up in my business is kind of like comparing myself to others.
Yeah.
In terms of just like, what does it need to look like? Like, because what's really cool is that there are a lot of people in this space, right? And you could use that to help yourself almost kind of build a model in terms of business of what you want to do. But if you stick too close to why somebody or to a model that someone has, you don't necessarily know all the reasons on why they choose these types of shoots or why they priced it this way. So one thing that I've learned is that, like, okay, even though I may have be looking at someone as a model, I have to really stop and ask myself, does this work for me in my business and in my workflow as well? So just one of the steps I'm going to take is just like stop comparing and just really think like, okay, what works in my workflow and what works for me here. And
the comparing thing, I had a time where I would look at people's stuff and I'd be like, wow. But I shifted, you know what I mean? Where I realized their art is different than mine. But I also shifted when I realized that I want to be inspired instead of comparing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And to realize like it's okay, you know what I mean? And to look at their images too and say, what did it take them to get there? They didn't just, and maybe some people do, but what work did it do? Or even reach out and follow them like closely, but not compare, you know?
Oh no, that's a good takeaway, especially the part of like looking at somebody's work, because like you can study photography, you can study videography and kind of see like, okay, if I'm gonna compare, like you said, use it as inspiration, and then what do I need to put in place? What lights do I need? What type of background, what type of setup, what type of workflow, backdrops do I need to like create something similar, but just know that like I don't have to compare my work to theirs, but use it as inspiration.
But let's be honest, how many times have we had, what light did they get? And then you get the same light and it still don't look like what, you know what I mean? Or, someone will call and say, well, what lens? And then you get that lens and it's still not, and it's like, because that's not your way. You know what I mean? Like it has to be the Ruby look or the Ivy look or whatever. So
yes. Excellent. Any other thoughts on that? Well, I'm not gonna ask Ivy because she's yawning right now. But I was gonna ask Ivy. So just some key things to emphasize, like for those of you who are watching and listening, like moving without fear takes faith. And we talked about, if it's factual or not, but just realize that like faith is a decision. It's not just a feeling. It's something that you decide. And sometimes like the fear is going to disappear and sometimes it won't, and you have to do it anyway. So let's talk about that. Like when's a time where you felt fear about doing something in your business, but you just move forward anyway?
I'll go first. I get nervous every shoot, everything that I do. It's just a feeling, you know what I mean? And then once I pick up my camera, I get in the zone, you know what I mean? And that saying, that phrase, do it scared, comes to play. Like, I'm always nervous, but then when I take off, kind of like the track meet we just saw.
Yes.
It might be, and then when you take off and then you get faster and you get better. So that's, for me, that's where I think.
Yeah. And I think to know that like you're equipped to overcome those hurdles too, like whether you got to reach out to the community or whether you need to
I am not afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
I am not one of them.
Yes, I have to do something.
I'm a pro at it.
Yeah. What about you, Ivy? When have you felt fear around your business and kind of just leaped out and did it anyway?
I think, like how I was saying earlier, or on a different episode, sorry, was as far as like me hoarding pictures and like not posting and stuff. There has been like throughout the time that I have been doing photography, there has been times where I'm like, oh, I'm going to post. And then I start posting consistently, or consistent-ishly, for me. I think those are the moments where I kind of like did it anyway. And I think I'm coming into another moment like that where it's kind of like in the 2-day span of us planning this podcast, one of the ideas or one of the names was one that I was like, oh, I feel like that fits me really well. And maybe I will use that, or not maybe, I will use that to help me. Yeah. I will use that to help me rebrand myself. So I feel like right now probably or definitely do still feel some irrational fear in that. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes. And I love you said irrational fear, because we talked about it like being factual or not. And like if there's a huge tiger in the room, right? Like I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
So like, and that fear is real. So thank you for giving us that language, like,
good.
you know, the irrational fears. So for me, a spot where I felt fear in business, but I moved forward anyway, was I had a client and I was doing video editing work for them, and they were doing the recording, and I realized through the process, like even though we were looking to build that person's presence, you know, on social and build consistency, and it's great to get started, but I realized that the video product that was coming out could have been much better. And I shared that with the client, and I actually had to go back and kind of say, here's what we have, and I know what my expectations are, and I know what your expectations as a client are too, because they already had an established brand, even though they're trying to establish a different way on social media. And I had to actually go back and say, this is where I think we really need to go, the direction we really need to go, but it's going to cost more money. And and it was going to cost more money because, like, I'm going to need to, you know, reach out to the village and ask for help from some team. And that person didn't flinch. They were like, okay, let's, like, I trust you. Let's do it. So that was really a situation where, like, I leaned in and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this isn't working out.
But she did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
And I feel like it came out great in the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way, but I feel like it came out great.
Yeah, and I had that fear, like, because just recently I had, like, another client that, like, disliked everything that we did, and it was just, yeah, it was just a whole thing. So, like, to have another client that I kind of noticed, like, it wasn't going in the direction we discussed, and then to come back and say, like, all right, let's do this. Here's what we can do, but it's also going to cost you more. So, all right, you guys. So if you are just tuning in, you are listening and watching to At the Creative Table. Thank you for pulling up a chair and just sitting with us. We're just talking about starting before you're ready. So to be able to start before you're ready, you guys, what are some of the things that are off the table and why?
I think getting stuck, definitely stuck in fear, is definitely off the table, because how are you going to start if you're stuck?
Right.
So I think just getting yourself going is on the table, and getting stuck is off the table.
Yeah. For me, I would say the whole comparison, and you really helped me, Chris, with, like, just remembering that, like, you can compare and you can look, but, like, use it as inspiration. So definitely off the table of comparing and catastrophizing.
That part.
That stuff that I'm afraid of.
Yeah. For me, I feel like you're going to fall. It's just, I just think it's something that's, you're going to hit a spot where you might trip. You may not fall.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you might stumble a little bit, but no, that's not your end all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Know that even if you did fall, brush yourself back off and you get back up.
Yeah.
You know, some people lay there.
I'm like, I just feeling that.
Yeah, that literally reminds me of, like, me talking to Nyla. Nyla's my daughter. about like every time she falls or every time that she's afraid. And like I think like this whole episode on fear, it just reminds me of like me mothering and like me telling my own child, you know what I mean, like helping her push through her own fears and helping her overcome things and helping her understand like it's okay if you fail, because failing actually means that you're getting better. And like now you know what not to do. And now you're one more step closer to being successful. I tell my kids all of these things, but for some reason I'm not applying them to myself. And like when you are yet. And when you are a parent, like you lead by example. So
and this is going to be your why now.
And just knowing like I have to show my daughter what success looks like, and I have to show her what not giving up looks like, and not giving in to fear looks like by doing.
It definitely, you know, it takes action for sure to
and
move
experience. You know, I don't you look at motherhood or auntyhood or whatever it looks like. They don't want perfect, just like God doesn't want perfect from us. So, but they know, okay, maybe mom did something and she didn't do it the best, but she got back up, and that's going to inspire them to keep going. It's like when a kid falls, right? A baby fall. What do? They cry, right? They cry. And what do we say as parents? Sometime we say, come here, let me see what hurts. But some parents will say, you know, don't, ain't nothing to cry about. And you don't give them the option to feel and then brush it off and get back up, because the world, right, is telling them, you know, don't cry. And you know what I'm saying? So I feel like when we fall, we got to feel, we got to analyze. We fell because we tripped over that cord that we should have stepped over. And stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's like the process of all that, and knowing that it's okay to, you fell. It's okay, you fell. It's okay to cry about it. But it's the getting up part that is like, ooh, powerful.
And I think that's a good actionable step to frame for our audience, is like, when you do make a mistake, like, don't succumb to fear. When you do fall, don't succumb to fear, but get back up and keep going.
It's inevitable. We're gonna make mistakes. I mean, hello.
And we gotta get an analogy. Last episode, I feel like we're leaning down into like this whole like walking and learning how to rise after you fall analogy, like that like is innate in childhood, but for some reason we forget it as adults. What were you saying, Ivy?
Well, this whole conversation, like this part of it, I'm just like, as you guys are talking, I'm just like thinking about what I say to my kid, and like when she falls, because like my whole thing was like I'm afraid of like my own greatness or like my own success or whatever, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, what do I say to Nyla when she falls? And I'm like, sometimes I don't say anything, and then like I just look at her, like, you think you all right? You like in my head, I'm like, you think you all right? Because I'm not gonna be like, whoa,
right?
Like, because then she's gonna cry, and so I just look at her. She look at me, and she'd be like, I'm okay, and then she like gets back up, or if she looks like she's about to cry, I'm like, oh, oopsie, and that's it. And if she needs to cry, I let her cry, but like normally it's like oopsie, and she's like, oh yeah. It was
because
just
sometimes that fall,
I made an oopsie, and then she gets back up and she just
it wasn't hurtful. But sometimes those falls are you scrape your knees and you scrape your face and stuff. So
how do you turn that observation into like an actionable step of like rising after you fall?
I think for me personally, it's gonna just be keep like me constantly reminding myself of like, look at it from Nyla's point of view, look at it from my kid's point of view. Like, is mommy falling and like she's staying down, or is she getting back up? Is mommy is mommy making mistakes and tearing herself apart over them? Because like, what example am I setting in that setting? You know what I mean? And then like, or is she learning from them? Is she getting better? You know? So I think for me, that's definitely gonna be my whole focus.
Excellent.
To help push me forward. In those tough moments.
Any other off the table like that you guys want to dig into before we hop into our lightning round?
Not me.
No, nothing. Well, if you guys are watching and listening and made it this far, thank you. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Let us know in the comments what you are learning. We're going to do a lightning round slightly different than we've done the last few episodes. If you've been following all the way through, we're going to do some short answers. So finish the sentence in just a few words. Just finish the sentence in just a few words. Because what we're looking to really do is like, let's give some language to people. Let's give them some ways that they can verbalize what they're going through, so that they don't play this negative tape in their head. They don't catastrophize what's going on, and that they learn how to rise after the fall. And to, just keep going, get started, keep going anyway. So, fill in the blank. Starting anyway gave me
more confidence.
Starting anyway gave me more confidence. Well, I mean, if you're going to do it, it's a lightning round, right?
Yeah,
so
more
1
confidence.
to 3 words, right? Okay. Starting anyway gave me
Trust.
gave you
There you go.
trust. Yeah. Starting anyway for me gave me hope. Yes. All right. Faith looks like.
Doing.
Faith looks like doing.
Acting. Doing.
Mm-hmm. Say it with your chest.
Doing.
There we go. All right, Chris. Faith looks like.
Me.
Faith looks like you. Oh, I feel like we gotta pause and dig in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, elaborate for us. Faith looks like me. For
Yes.
those that don't know you, and are tuning in.
Yeah, faith looks like me because I feel like in every part of my life, I was walking in faith,
Yeah.
walking out of literally just walking with faith around me, since I was young. So I just feel like that's the first thing that I see me. I visualize when you read it, I just saw me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then faith looks like.
Faith looks like moving forward because I realize that God knows more than me.
Ooh.
God knows more than me.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. All right. Fear sounds like.
I don't know what it sounds like. I know what it feels like. I don't know what it sounds like. So I'm gonna skip.
I would say for me, fear honestly sounds silent. It's like silent but loud at the same time, because I'm often holding it in. So it's like I don't know how to describe it either, but that's how I would say.
Fear for me sounds like noise.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, sounds like a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of when you're nervous and you're scared, you get those thoughts, and I get what you're saying, like
Yes.
silence, and because it could be both ways. When you're silent, you do hear a lot of unnecessary noise. But when I think of fear, I just hear a whole lot of chaos, a whole lot of noise.
Oh, and I feel like, that's definitely one of my takeaways. Because I feel like if you start to realize that fear is just noise, you can focus and lean in the direction that you need to go, as a creative, as a business owner, whatever you're doing. So, all right, last one. Obedience cost me blank. Obedience cost me blank.
It costs me my comfort, I guess.
I was gonna say that. And
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That was definitely what I was thinking. My comfort zone.
Yeah, it costs me
Right.
my comfort zone.
But it's a good
But
thing.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say, can I switch it up a little bit?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I want to say obedience gave me freedom.
Yes.
It
You know,
didn't cost
Right.
you anything. It gave you something.
Yeah.
yeah. It gave me it gave me a peace of mind to be free in my own space.
Obedience set me free
Come
of my
on.
fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
There you
it.
go. I like that.
Absolutely.
I feel like we should start singing after that.
Yeah. We probably will.
You guys have been missing the pre-episodes. These two have been
Oh, yeah.
singing. All they have to hear is like a few lyrics of something that reminds them, and they just go in.
Music
to the
gets us
song.
through.
Yes.
Music makes me lose control.
All right. So, takeaways, you guys. What are you leaving at the table or taking away from the table from this conversation today? And if you guys are listening, we want to hear from you as well in the chat. As you've been at the creative table from with us, let us know, what are you taking away from this conversation, and what are you leaving at the table?
I am definitely leaving my irrational fear at the table. And then what I'm taking away is finding and noticing more of the proven track record that I have and that I will continue to have. So like building that confidence in facts, and then leaving that irrational fear on the table.
Don't let it lie to you. Yes, don't let that irrational fear lie to you. Love it. What about you, Chris?
What I'm leaving at the table is what I am not. And what I'm taking away is what I am.
Yes.
Nice.
And for me, I would say what I am leaving at the table is comparison.
Yeah.
And just knowing that God has a bigger vision than I do. I typed that out into the notes because one of you said it, and that was so helpful for me. Just knowing like God's vision is bigger, bigger than anything that I can imagine. So I can trust Him. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to just share in the comments what you have taken away from this discussion of creatives at the creative table. And think about what needs to come off the table and what needs to stay on. Thank you guys, and we look forward to catching you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.